Hey guys, we are in our free online coaching classes for the JAM examination, and this video will be the lecture 10 on this series. And the topic is Introduction to Geomorphology. The book which I referred is The Principles of Geomorphology by William D. Thornbury. And as we had almost completed the structural geology portion in our last 9 lectures, we are going to start the next heading, that is the geomorphology. And this video will be a generalized introduction for this geomorphology heading, and we will try to cover this all headings in less than 10 lectures. Welcome to my channel Success Guru and myself Panchanadam, and let's get into the heading. So, a discussion on the history of development of geomorphic ideas will help us to get a more complete picture of the evolution of geomorphic thoughts. Not only that, it will also throw lights on developing new concepts. With this thing in our mind, we will just start with a few pioneer workers who developed the fundamental concepts of the geomorphology. So to begin with, the very first one who had started understanding the concept of geomorphology is the Herodotus. The time period may be a bit confusing, maybe like 485 to 425 BC. And he is known as the father of history. He is also remembered for the geological observations. Actually, he is the first to recognize that the annual increase of silt and clay sediments, that is by the Nile River. And not only that, the earthquakes are the responsible for the formation of the mountains was his concept for the formation of origin of mountains. And also he noticed shells in the hills of Egypt and concluded that the sea at some time must have extended up to that level. So he is the very first one who actually observed as well as recorded the geomorphic events that takes place around us. The next one is Ibn Sina in the time period say 1980 to 1037. Actually, he held a view upon the origin of mountains and he divided them into two classes. The those produced by the upliftment of ground, that is due to the earthquake, that is what you have said earlier, and the next one is actually the resultant from the differential erosion. And probably he will be the very first guy who observed the stream erosion, and that also leads to the formation of the mountains. And the discourse of the brothers of purity was actually Arabic scholars working, in which the fourth volume there is an outline of erosion as well as transportation of stream and wind. And also there is some basic concepts, that is some basic ideas in the peniplanation. So these are the starting point of such a thing, that is peniplanation. So when you are discussing all such a thing, there comes Mr. Leonardo da Vinci, and he is cited as one of the first representative of the formative period in geological thinking. Actually, he recognized that the valleys were cut by streams, and that streams carried materials from one part of the earth and deposit it elsewhere. And the Frenchman Gutenberg Hall, he discussed the degradation of mountain by streams, and sediments were deposited in floodplains as well as in the seas and oceans. And he believed that the sea to be more powerful destroyer of the land, and he recognized the volcanic origin of the numerous hills that is in the central France. And there comes Mr. Swiss de Saussure, and is the first to use the term geology and the geologist in the present sense. And before that, the term may not be used or even may be used in a broad way. But he is the very first one to define geology as well as geologist, and which is continues till now. And he collected a great stock of information upon which Mr. Hutton developed his doctrine of uniformitarianism. And here comes Mr. James Hutton, and he was a leader of a group known as the Plutonists, whom proposed that the granite was an igneous rock. And before him, there was thinking like granite is a rock which is formed by chemical precipitation from the water. And not only that, he also recognized the evidence for metamorphism on a rock, and his greatest contribution came in expounding the concept that the present is the key to the past. So he is the first one who says the present is key to the past. So whatever you are doing or we are seeing right now might have happened in previous time also. And the basic concept of our modern ideas on the earth sculpture are to be found in Hutton's theory itself. And here comes Mr. W.M. Davis, and he proposed the concept of geomorphic cycle, and according to which the evolution of land from systematic sequences and which can be recognized by the landform features. And according to him, the landforms can be classified into three classes: the youth stage, the matured stage, and the old stage. And after understanding all such evolutionary concepts and ideas in geomorphology, and this is the generalized definition of geomorphology in the book Thornberry, in which geomorphology can be generally defined as the science of landform that includes submarine form also. So geology deals not only the landforms that is above the sea level, it also includes the portion of landform that is submerged in the water. So this is a generalized definition of geomorphology. So let us have an outline of geomorphic process, actually, which is important in terms of our IIT syllabus also. So in this we will try to give a generalized idea about all such a process, and you will see one after other in the forthcoming videos. So very first thing, the geomorphic process has been classified into three main categories. The first one is epigeny or exogenetic process. That is, whatever it is happening on the surface of the earth will comes under this heading, that is epigenic or exogenetic process. Exo, that means simply above the earth's surface. And the next one is the hypogene or endogenetic process, and these are the processes that takes place below the surface of the earth. And there are a few processes that you will see in the forthcoming headings. And the next one, that is third category, is the extraterrestrial process, which actually doesn't come in the above two thing. It is on the surface or below the surface. So this will only include the infall of the meteorites which comes from the space towards the earth. So let us see one after the other. The epigenic process can be generally called as the gradation, and this gradation has been broadly classified into two, that is a degradation, then in which the weathering, mass wasting or gravity transfer, then erosion, which includes running water, groundwater, wave, current, tide and tsunami, wind, glaciers. So these are the process by which the land has been degraded, that is removed off, that is comes under this heading, that is degradation. Okay, and these are some of the images which shows the degradation effect that you can see in the image, and these are the erosional features formed by the river, wind, glacier, wave, etc. And the next one is the aggradation, in which the deposition or the formation of the landform takes place. That will be due to running water or groundwater or even waves, currents, tides and tsunamis, and wind and glacier. And here are some of the images which shows the aggradation of the landform, where dunes are deposited by the wind and the sediments are deposited by the river and the glacial sediments were there, right? The third category is actually the work of organisms including man, and this work of organism, there will be two things, that is degradation will also takes place as well as aggradation. So we will not further subdivide those things, we will just give a generalized heading, that is the work of organism, that includes human also. And the second thing, that is the endogenic process. There are actually two things, that is diastrophism and volcanism. So these are the main two processes that takes place below the surface, that is probably in the crust, mantle and even the mantle portion itself. That is the interaction between the crust mantle that results on the surface. And the third one is and you can see here, there is a extraterrestrial process that I have mentioned here, which will not come under the above two headings, and that's why we have kept it separate, that is extraterrestrial process. And these are the classifications, and so these are generalized geomorphic process which has been classified by Thornberry. So in our forthcoming videos we will see one after other, that is the erosion, action of wind, the transportation, then the portion like that we will see one after other, which is in our IIT syllabus. As mentioned earlier, started my WhatsApp group. So if you want to join this group, you can just mail me your details. So I will let you join. And I group my videos according to the category that you can check in my playlist. You can connect with us by mail, Facebook and Instagram, and these are the links. You can also support us by like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.